All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday, April 3rd. We have just 5 NBA games to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself for the day. Absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. And we're having a decent year to start the MLB season. Now, it is a grind, and we are working for our coin, but another night of a lot of volume, but coming out on top in the green there. Red Sox first 5, Garrett Crochet did his damn thing. Ben Lively under 15.5 outs, correlating it to the Padres. Team total over 3.5. Both of those come through. Angels, Cardinals, Nerfy, as well as the, what was the other Nerfy? We had Twins and White Sox Nerfy. Those were heartbreaking because low scoring right immediately after that, right? But ultimately the Nerfy doesn't come through. We had the Tigers and Mariners first 3 under. It was a plus money play, but you know what? I said in yesterday's video, I was like, I don't even know if I've ever dabbled in that market before. Not quite sure I will again, but we had the Cubs money line that came through. Simeon under 1.5 bases, and then Zach Gallen under 2.5 earned runs. I deserve a cha-ching for that. We posted it on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, which, by the way, all of my socials are popping up right here throughout the show as a short. And some of the comments were like, you are absolutely crazy and all that. And I put the I sounded the psycho alert alarm when I was, making the video yesterday because, yeah, he's going up against the torpedo bat Yanks, right? But Zach Gallen had himself a absolute night. And then our other loss was Wilson Contreras. He didn't look all that great. I think he was 0 for 3, and then he hits a double late in the game. So that was unfortunate. But like I said, guys, a profitable night. You're not going to hear me complain about that. And it's been just electric. Like, you guys know me and my sort of theory on betting and whatnot. It's like, you're paying for the entertainment for a large part, right? And us having a night like this where it's just a slight profit, but we have so much going on and we're hitting some and then some are heartbreaking, like, man, oh man, we are getting our coins worth there for sure. But what do you say we go ahead and dive into today? That was all about yesterday. We have a smaller slate today. Make sure you guys hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. Keep dropping your plays down in the comments. I'm seeing some absolute plays that are like, wow, that is like some same game parlays and just some crafty stuff from you guys. Like I always say, it's like you're pulling out stuff that I would never check behind that door or lift up that rock. Some really, really cool plays. So keep doing that. And eventually we'll bring the rider of the day over to the MLB too. So that'll be really fun. But let's go ahead and dive into game number 1 here. We got Baltimore taking on Boston. Charlie Morton on the mound for Baltimore, going up against Red Sox starter Tanner Houck. Tanner Houck in his first game this season didn't look all that great against Texas. He only went 5 2/3, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, just 2 strikeouts, 3 walks. He let up 2 home runs. Charlie Morton in his first game with Baltimore, he didn't look all that great either. Only, I think it was like 3 1/3 pitched, but he let up 7 hits, 4 earned, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, 80 pitches through those 3 innings too, which wasn't all that tremendous. Now both pitchers do have decent numbers against the current roster. Morton, and decent sample size, right? Morton 77 plate appearances against in his career. And when I say against the roster, it means the current guys on the roster. It's not the Red Sox in general. It's the current guys on the roster. So Charlie Morton, 77 plate appearances against. He's got a K rate of 21%, walk rate below 10, average against of 235, so pretty good. An expected batting average against of 229, a WOBA of 288, expected WOBA 290, and an expected slugging down at 318. Tanner Houck, 78 plate appearances against, so a very similar sample size. Some really good numbers going. 20 numbers though, a 26% K rate, just a 5% walk rate, average against of 274. It does drop with the expected batting average against of 262. A WOBA of 300, expected WOBA of 312. He does have a slugging of 407. So both these pitchers are, I guess in their career, decent against the bats that they'll be seeing today. I will say, looking at, I guess, the pitch mix, so you're going to get a lot of sliders and a lot of sinkers from Tanner Houck. He'll throw the splitter as well. everything but the sinker and Tanner Houck's arsenal, Baltimore should be able to hit fairly well. Now, they scored 0 runs yesterday, which is not really like Baltimore. I would envision this being one of the better offenses in the league, but they've definitely gone, and we said in yesterday's video, which is kind of crazy. I said it as a joke, but they've gone so far this year, good game, bad game, good game, bad game, good game, bad game offensively. And it's literally like really good and really bad. 12 runs scored, then 2 runs scored. 9 runs scored, then 1 run scored. 8 runs scored, then 0 runs scored. So I do expect, if they follow that trend, which is a crazy thing to bank on, them to at least put up a decent and respectable number today. And on the Boston side of things, Devers gets going. He has 2 hits and an RBI yesterday. They really needed that. We've seen the bats. I mean, even though they only scored 3 runs, a couple guys left on base, I do think the Red Sox offense will kind of get back to form and whatnot, and this is a righty pitcher, which we obviously love to see, right? So I'm going to lean towards an over first and foremost, and this is not a biased play at all, but I think that there's some value on taking a peek at the Red Sox at plus 105, plus 102 now overall. I mean, these two teams, I would say this is a 50-50 type of a game. I almost want to give Tanner Houck a little bit of the edge here, just because one of his main pitches, the splitter, is not a pitch that the sinker that this Baltimore team hits well. So yeah, if this is a 50-50 type match, I'll take the team with a plus number next to it, okay? But yeah, I like the over. I almost think that this is probably like a 5-4 game. So yeah, you might find me, which I don't think we've done so far this year, but you might find me buying a half run. You're paying a lot for it, though. You're paying like 30 cents just to get that half run. So we'll have to decipher if we deem that worth it or not. But, over 9 is going to be my look. Maybe there's some push potential there. And like I said, the Red Sox could be a play as well, because I do think that this is going to be a hard-fought game offensively. And if Devers gets going, Bregman, Story, like this is a Red Sox lineup that can certainly compete with the best of them when they're on. And let's hope that they have a little momentum after these last couple games. In terms of a player prop, I am looking at one. It's Tyler O'Neill under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I was kind of hoping for his under in bases, but it looks like we're priced out at this point. Let me jump into the outlier screen, guys. The tool you're about to see, 7-day free trial with the link down in the description, as well as the pinned comment. By far and away, what I would deem the best player prop research tool for baseball in the MLB. I mean, they're great at all other sports, and I mean great, but man, oh man, do they have all the one-stop shop stuff you need for baseball player props and more, but I love it for player props. So let's dive in and let me walk you through this one. So Tyler O'Neill, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I also love that you can see the odds, and you can literally place it right from here, which is cool. But for minus 105, he's hit this in 2 of his 5 games so far this season against right-handed pitching, not all that great, right? His batting average drops to 208, WRC plus, so that's a pretty big drop, right? 41-ish points down. Obviously, you see everything else is kind of down as well, but the biggest thing that I like, and yes, you can make the argument, well, Tanner Houck kind of struggles against the right-handed batter, sure, but what I like is this, okay, this is him in terms of his pitch mix, Tanner Houck's pitch mix, Tyler O'Neill against these pitches, and this is last year's data, and take a peek here down at the heat map, right? So against the slider, all right, he's going to jump to a 41% K rate. That's what we're really hoping for, because his WOBA does go up, right? His weighting on base average. So that is not exactly the best situation to see that go up. Against the sinker, same thing. Against the splitter, okay, the K rate drops, but his WOBA drops. So, okay, we can make an argument that these are good situations, but you can also make an argument that, yikes, maybe this isn't the best pitch mix. However, you head down to the heat map here. Tanner Houck, when he throws the slider down and away to right-handed batters, Tyler O'Neill likes it right over the middle, batting just 136 last year when we see that pitch down and away to him. So not a very good heat map spot for him, right? The sinker, kind of the same thing. Tanner Houck down and inside, right? Tyler O'Neill likes it when someone hangs a sinker right over the plate, which who wouldn't? So if Tanner Houck is on and putting it low and inside in the zone, I don't think Tyler O'Neill is going to touch it. And then the splitter, same thing. Look at this heat map for Tanner Houck right here. He throws it down and away, and the only place that Tyler O'Neill really hits that splitter is when you leave it high and inside, which is the exact opposite of what we could see Tanner Houck doing. So yeah, I like Tyler O'Neill here under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. I don't think that I'd play that, paying a lot of juice, but at minus 105, almost 1-to-1 for our dollar, don't necessarily mind it. The one concern is the dude can just flick his wrist and kill that under with one swing of the bat, right? But let's hope that's not the case. All right, we got Philly taking on Colorado. In this one, we have Taijuan Walker on the mound for Philadelphia. He's going up against, who was the listed pitcher? Senzatella? You guys know I can't even pronounce any names, but on the mound for Colorado. In terms of how his first start was, looked really, really good. I mean, he didn't pitch deep into the game, but he got out of some really, really impressive jams. So when I say really good, it's like Tampa Bay had a ton of base runners against him, only through like 5 innings. I don't have the numbers up in front of me. And watching that one, it was like Tampa Bay also was hitting it right to defensive players. So I'll mention that when they needed to score. But ultimately, like 0 earned runs through whatever his innings pitch was. I think it was 5 innings. And I remember a ton of guys being on base. So I would give him a little bit of credit for getting out of jams. Now, we have Walker on the mound for Philadelphia. He hasn't started this year, but he did end the season pretty poorly. 0-5 his team was when he pitched. He doesn't have the best of numbers here against this Colorado team either. For minus 225, you're not going to catch me taking a peek at this Philadelphia team on the money line today. Maybe you could say, hey, they'll go out there and score some runs because, you know, they are the Phillies, but you're going to be having to look at probably over like 5.5 to get anything worth it here. So I would say by default, I'm not even going to sound the cycle alert alarm because I don't think I touch it myself. I'd probably look at the Rockies in this one just because I can't stomach minus 225. And also I don't really trust Walker. I certainly don't trust the Walker to have the Phillies go out there and win by 2 with the run line. But either Colorado money line or Phillies money line or run line, would be the things I'd look at. But like I said, just being transparent with you guys. And I know you guys, some of you in the comments will be like, why do you even talk about it if you're not going to play it? Because that's the format of the show and I like talking about sports. Sue me, right? Like I always say. So, yeah, I'd go Colorado or Philadelphia, but realistically, I don't think that those make their way into being a final play. I don't mind the idea of an over, though, like I said, right? Philadelphia in a spot here where I think that they could score some runs because Sanzatella, if I slow it down, I can pronounce. I don't think that he's going to be all that great against this Phillies team, but I also think, you know, there's a chance that Walker doesn't look phenomenal, and maybe Colorado's bats kind of step up to the plate. Now, no pun intended. Now, they've only scored 1 run in each of the 2 games in this series, so that is kind of tough to see. But 9.5, it's telling me that there is going to be a decent amount of runs scored, and I'll trust it. So I'll lean towards the over. And then this is a weird one. No real player props that I'm loving so far in this one. But again, guys, so I said I don't have any player props in this one, but you should go ahead and check out Outlier. I'll dive in, and I'll show you what I would do to see if I could dig up any player props in this game. So in the Outlier screen right here, right, we're on the player prop screen. In fact, you could go to Insights and say, okay, well, play type, right? Insight type player. And all of a sudden you can fix the odds and do all your filters, but you're going to get a bunch of trending plays in the market, making your research process that easy, right? But I love to do the manual way because then you feel a little bit better about yourself, right? Head over to props. My filters right now, all I really have is minus 165 to plus 165 set as the odds because that's kind of the meat and the potatoes, right? And then you can head over to games, Rockies and Phillies, and then you can kind of start going through these. You can filter by last 5, last 10, last 20, head to head, 2025, so this season or last season, and you can kind of see what you like. So for example, if we like the idea of, let's take a peek here at Brenton Doyle under 1.5 bases, right? All right, so far this season looks pretty good. He did have 3 bases a couple games ago, but overall, he's hit it in 4 of his 5, and you can even see that right here, right? Scroll down. Okay, well, his numbers kind of jump. Red is not good. Numbers kind of jump against right-handed pitchers, and then Walker, kind of same thing. Against the sinker, splitter, slider, fastball. Okay, his number is fast. His pitch mix with the fastball, sinker, slider, all that doesn't look all that terrible. So this could be a play, but ultimately, I didn't really see enough that fully checks the box, right? And then, like I showed you earlier, you can even check the heat map for pitches, specifically against righty batters and whatnot, and you can see what they bat from there. So, yeah, guys, go ahead and check out Outlier. Again, that link will be down below in the description. You get a 7-day free trial. It's an absolute no-brainer. It's super cheap after that, too. The standard version of Outlier is just $19.99 per month. You hit a couple plays, it's paying for itself, and you will hit a couple plays with Outlier. Go ahead and check it out. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Minnesota taking on Houston, and man, oh man, is this Houston team on the struggle bus. Minnesota gets their first 2 wins in the last 2 games, right? We were on one of those against the White Sox. Yesterday, we couldn't really get there, obviously. Houston, though, losing 3 straight against San Francisco. They lost, they won 2 against New York, but again, their offense is like, what are we doing here? Let me read off what they've done so far, and this is the Houston Astros, right, with some big names on that team. This is their runs scored in their first 6 games of the year. 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3. the pitchers they've gone up against haven't been all that crazy. Clay Holmes, McGill, Canning, Hicks, Webb, Raup, like nothing all that ridiculous. So I sit here and I'm like, can we really trust Houston to do anything? Now they're on the road. They didn't look all that great at home. They're going up against Joe Ryan today, who I do think is a good pitcher. He's one of those guys that I feel like I always talk about being better than he is, but had a good first start here against St. Louis. He wasn't really the guy that blew that game for them. They ended up losing that game, but he went 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned, 5 strikeouts, just 1 walk, only pitched like 16 pitches per inning. So I do think that he pitched fairly well in that one. Hunter Brown on the bump for Houston. And I mean, I don't want to say that it was a bad outing because it really wasn't, but the fact that they gave him 0 run support hurts his case, right? Because it makes it look like he didn't pitch all that well. 6 innings pitched, just 4 hits, just 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a home run. He only pitched 16 pitches per inning as well. So it's like I think both these pitchers kind of did their job in their outing, and they just didn't get the best of, offenses backing them. So I almost want to trust the pitching in this one. I know that total's all the way down there, so I don't think that we'd really consider a full game under 7. That is super, super low. And I don't know exactly what we have from the weather perspective, but overall, again, that is just super, super low. If we could target a first 5 under, 4.5, that might be the move, because now that's through 5 innings, you get 5 runs of allotment to break, right? 4 runs of wiggle room, 5 runs would bust. 7 being the total, it's like, that seems like it's fairly valuable. So I don't think that this will be will be digestible odds for long. So I would jump on that first 5 under, I think. And then I'd also consider a nerfy. Like I said, I think, and I know there's a lot of thinking going on here, and sometimes when I think too much, you see steam come on my ears, and it ain't all that great, but I do think that this is a type of spot where we should do our best to trust the pitching, because the offenses we've seen from both of these squads haven't been all that tremendous. Now, do you want to say that Minnesota's offense is kind of starting to cook? They did score 8 and 6 runs. I do understand that, but a lot of those runs came like towards the 5th inning. You know what I mean? Like yesterday they scored 5 runs in the 4th and 5th. Yes, that'd still kill our first 5 under, but we haven't even talked about Hunter Brown's career here against this Minnesota Twins roster. 78 plate appearances against, 5% walk rate, and over 30% K rate, expected batting average against of 199. So I expect him to do his thing, and then hopefully Joe Ryan, he pitched well. Hopefully he goes 2 starts in a row here pitching well. So first 5 under. If I had to pick a money line spot, it's crazy, but I think that I start to consider the Astros kind of similar to the Red Sox. I think this is a fairly 50-50 game here, and one of the teams has a plus number next to them. I know the Astros offense stinks, and maybe Minnesota's offense is starting to get going, but it's not like they played the fiercest of teams right now. I do like Burke. He didn't look all that tremendous, but they scored 8 and 6 runs their last 2 games. I don't want to sit here and just crown them champions. Like, that offense was struggling before. So give me Houston, but I'm going to lean first 5 under as my main play there in that one for sure. Real quick player prop, and I'm not sure exactly how I want to or if I will play this, but I like Matt Wallner, either under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, or under 0.5 runs. We've already talked about sort of, the matchup pitching wise, but you are going to get a lot of fastballs from Hunter Brown. The sinker is next, but it's like 20% less. So a lot of fastballs, and we do see Matt Wallner's WOBA drop against fastballs, the sinker as well. You have to get to the cutter before you start seeing him really rake against some of these pitches. So I do like the idea of Wallner to kind of struggle. Maybe we look at runs, but also, like I said, I could be convinced of under hits, runs, and RBIs. But that's one player prop that I'm considering in this game. But again, it does not trump the first 5 under. That is probably going to be a final play today. All right, Yanks taking on the Diamondbacks. So we have aligned and sided with the Diamondbacks in the first 2 games of the series. We had Diamondbacks money line in that first game for plus money that cashes. Yesterday, we were really big on, not unit-wise, but in terms of us putting it out there on social and whatnot, really big on Zach Gallen under 2.5 earned runs, and he has a career night. Now we have Merrill Kelly to deal with on the bump against this Yankees squad. He had a decent first game. They won 8-1 against Chicago. He went 5 1/3, 1 earned run, just 1 strikeout, walked 4 guys, allowed 3 hits. So, that's definitely kind of shaky. We could have seen some more runs come in, and now we know about that Cubs lineup, which is a very good lineup. It's kind of shocking that they didn't score more runs, right? On the other side, the Yankees have Carlos Carrasco on the mound. He hasn't really looked all that good in forever, I guess, in a sense. So I don't really know what we can make out of him. If we want to look at these two guys in terms of their stats against the current roster, we can start with Carrasco. 73 plate appearances against. He's got a 36% K rate against this Diamondbacks roster. 224 average against. Expected batting average against at 179, expected WOBA of 251. Merrill Kelly on the other side of things, 25% K rate, batting average against of 180, does jump to 233 in terms of expected, but an expected WOBA of 320. So pretty good numbers. I have to trust that the Yankees bats are going to, kind of be better than the Arizona bats today. Not necessarily because of Kelly, not necessarily because of the pitching, but more so because they had an off offensive game yesterday, and they still ultimately ended up with 3 runs, and that was in the bottom of the ninth. Yeah, bottom of the ninth, right? That was a 4-0 game from the second inning all the way to the ninth inning. The Yankees said, hey, let's go out there and get some runs. So I think that they kind of, or at least they should, parlay that into having a decent offensive, night tonight. I would assume, because this offense is very good, like I have been saying, right? We also see that Merrill Kelly really struggles against left-handed batters. You have Wells, trying to think, Dominguez, Cody Bellinger, my guy who I have the over in home runs this year, in this line, Jazz Chisholm. So it's like there are some lefty bats that could really, really get to him today in that spot. But again, Carlos Carrasco, it's like we don't know exactly, I don't know exactly what to make out of him ultimately. You know what I mean? We've seen him come in and pitch, 2 innings in this year so far, but in the past now we've seen him kind of struggle, right? Like he hasn't in a few years hasn't had an ERA under, looks like 4. Like that's kind of tough. And the one that he did was 3.97 actually. The other ones are around 6. So your guess is as good as mine as what we're getting out of him, but I do think that we're going to get some offense out of the Yankees. So I'll lean towards them as well as their team total over. I think that's ultimately how I'd end up playing it. But I think Arizona can hang in there. You know what I mean? So if you like the full game over, sure. It's just 10 runs, you're asking for a lot there. If you guys made it this far in the video, go ahead and comment 21 down below. Really do appreciate you spending some time with me this morning, even on a short MLB slate. So comment 21 if you made it this far into the video. And if you guys have any ideas, we've been fielding a lot of comments, and I absolutely love the feedback of some ideas that we can do to kind of, just have some excitement or more fun throughout the MLB season. We've seen a lot of comments about, having some daily long shot parlays and whatnot that we might not necessarily track, but we can all kind of ride together and whatnot. So if you guys have any ideas of what you'd like to see or do or interact with, let me know in the comments. I'm all ears today. In terms of this game, we got Milwaukee taking on Cincinnati here. I think this is going to be a good game. We have Milwaukee coming off of what I'd consider a really good series against Kansas City. Kansas City looks like a very good ball club, and you got 8 innings out of Freddie Peralta yesterday. Cole Reagans is a stud, and he outpitched them. Now, they were at home, which they're still at home here, so that's going to be a factor. I could see Milwaukee being a very good home team this year. On the flip side, you have Cincinnati, who lost that series against Texas. And Cincinnati, if they don't score runs this year, I'm, worried about them. They've now lost both of their series, and when they don't score runs, it's tough. Like, they lost 2 games against Texas. I don't believe that much in Texas's bats as of right now, and it's almost validated by what we saw those last 2 games. 1-0 win for Texas, and then another 1-0 win yesterday. You did have Hunter Green pitching really, really well. Even Spears looked pretty good. Brady Singer looked good, so their pitching looks good. But this is a team that's going to rely on their offense, especially when they play half their games at Great American Ballpark, right? So tough to see, this situation for the Reds, but I don't really mind a bounce back spot for them today, I should say. So we have Nestor Cortez on the mound for Milwaukee. It's not really worth looking at how he started the season because he went up against the Yankees, and that was where he was pitching batting practice. Only they started the batting practice out in the outfield pretty much. Like, these guys were just hitting everything, right? 2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 8 earned runs. He allowed 5 home runs and 5 walks. Yikes, right? That was when he started the game, 3 pitches, 3 home runs. Didn't get any better from there. You do have Nick Lodolo on the other side of things that I think he looked okay against San Francisco, and now we're learning San Francisco's a pretty good team. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 1 strikeout, 0 walks. He did let up a home run. So ultimately, yeah, I still think it was a good game. They beat San Francisco in that one. You're getting a plus number next to this Reds team. And again, guys, small slate. I know I've said the same thing a couple times, but this is a spot in which I think the pitching could be pretty equal. I like the idea of Cincinnati's Offense kind of bouncing back from 2 straight games of 0 up against Nestor Cortez. We do have Nestor Cortez pitching from the left side. That's not exactly ideal, I would say, for Cincinnati, but he's going to throw a lot of fastballs and a lot of cutters. And what do I keep telling you guys to keep in mind with the Cincinnati team? When they face guys that throw a decent amount of velocity, or that's kind of their velocity type guy, I expect them to do a little bit better. So do I love the fact that he's a lefty? Not at all, but I do think that this could be a decent spot for Cincinnati to at least put up a respectable number. So I'm going to lean towards Cincinnati in this one. In terms of the total, I don't mind an over. I mean, Milwaukee also not exactly the best against lefties, but that's why we're getting this number down at 7.5, right? I'm starting to see a little bit more consistency out of Milwaukee, so this could be a 4-4 game, and then whoever wins, but still, we already got to that over. I do envision that, but I do think that Reds, I'd probably consider money line, or maybe first 5 money line, because it's still early, and I still don't know if I trust the Reds bullpen. I know Milwaukee's bullpen has taken some hits, but overall, I don't know if that's going to be a bullpen that I trust this season, at all. They've been decent. They've looked okay. They're fairly rested here. And Milwaukee's bullpen's actually really tacked. So sure, if you want to go money line, great. But I think I might just go first 5 money line to kind of consolidate and get rid of some of the variables. So yeah, give me Cincinnati first 5 as well as the over. And then player props in this one, we did dig in. Let's see what we have in our bank here. I wanted to go back to one that we rode with recently. Where is he at? Spencer Steer. I don't mind his under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs yet again. He struggles against left-handed pitching. My one concern is Cortez. Like Cortez, again, we saw him really just look terrible. Is he going to go out there and pitch batting practice again? So Spencer Steer under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs would be something I consider. But the thing that if you don't see that as a final play, the thing that kept me off of it is Dirty Nestor himself. You know what I mean? But guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. A lot shorter than the ones we have been making, but we've had, 1/3 of the slate, which I don't mind because we could spend more time digging through these games during the day and even talking about them versus when we have a 15-game slate. But I love it. All you guys know that. I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.